If you are somebody just like me who has many different interests, you're a creative person, you have all these passions and hobbies, you have a collection of car things you want to work on someday, you have craft supplies, you have photography things, scrapbooking, all of these things from different times of your life that you genuinely want to complete and work on, but somehow they never get done. I want to talk today about how to break through that, how to cut through the denial, and really decipher what things you're actually going to use in your life and which things it is time to let go of. So, I have 3 questions today that we can ask ourselves to help bring clarity and also to really recognize when it makes sense to let these things go, because letting things go that aren't serving us, it creates space for the things that we genuinely love, and new things can make their way to us that we haven't discovered yet. Sometimes they're anchors anchoring us to past parts of our lives, and we're just moved past that, and that's completely okay. But when we hold on to all of that and keep that energetic clutter all around us, it kind of stagnates our progress. And so when we can start to let some of the things go strategically, it'll make room for the things that you really want to be doing. So 3 questions to ask yourself to break the "I might use it someday" denial. Question 1. Am I holding on to these items or this item because I actually want the item, or I dream of being the person who uses that item? For instance, maybe you still have the guitar you 5 years ago, 10 years ago, even 20 years ago. You were determined you were going to be a guitar player and you were going to learn that instrument. It's been sitting there haunting you ever since. You keep kind of guilting yourself. So what do you do to make that decision? How do you decide, is it time to let the guitar go? Or am I going to step in and use the guitar? Is that guitar representing who you want to be going forward? Can you picture yourself playing it? Or is it the feeling that you would get from the guitar that you actually can get that feeling from the other things you still have, or other things that maybe more connect to who you are now? The world is probably filled with people who wanted to play guitar, but instead took up something small like a harmonica, or they found that they could get their creative outlet from mixing music or editing videos or going through their photo collections, and they can kind of get that creative eye and that creative outlet still met without the guitar there haunting them. If you can separate the object from the dream of who you are with the object, that can help bring clarity. I've always had a dream. I probably brought up guitar for this reason. My dad played guitar, and I would love the situations where he could bring out his guitar and play a song. And I always thought it would be so great to be that person that could sit around the campfire and just know a few songs. The reality is, I'm never going to do that, ever. I love when people are that person, but every chance I get that I have free time, it never goes towards music. It goes towards art and painting and drawing and creating. So why not let the guitar go and find some person who really wants to learn guitar and is excited about it. Help them meet that goal for them. You will feel really good about it. You know that guitar is going to a good home, and also you can release it. The second question you can ask yourself is, does this hobby actually fit within my energetic availability, my calendar, my mental capacity of my life? My dad one time took apart a car and it sat in our garage for a decade. He had 5 kids. He had every intention of redoing that car and could have mechanically done it and would have loved to do it. The reality was he had 5 children who all had needs and parts of his time. So energetically, I know he felt really good one day when he finally let that car go in all of its parts to somebody who had the bandwidth to work on the car. Instead of it taking up half of his garage all of those years, had he been able to look and see, realistically, this is not in the schedule for me for a good long time, And partially because he chose other hobbies. When he did have time, he was active in a band. So he would work on that. He would do woodworking. He would work on that. He would make an ice skating rink that he brought so much joy to him every winter for his kids who played hockey. So he chose other things to do with the spare time he had. He didn't go in the garage and work on the car. And so looking at those clues and separating, really being honest with yourself, what is your bandwidth? What is the energy you have for this item or this craft right now? Is going to be really huge in deciding if you want to let it go, find someone who can love it, and free yourself of it. Okay, third question. Let's say you decide, you know what, I'm letting it go. And then one day you decide, now 5 years, 10 years later, you decide you want to take that up again. Can you rebuy those items in a pretty economical way that isn't going to bankrupt you, and then also buy them again in what is current now? I think of this with scrapbooking. I know so many friends who had scrapbooking and entire crafting areas, stamps and papers, and they love it. But the reality is there's a turning point eventually when that got really overwhelming. Often they started this for their first child and then they have a few children and life kind of gets busy. And then the supplies sit there and now you don't have the ink anymore or the stamps, or you have to start keeping your things current in order to really be able to use them well. And so in those situations, could they let those go to someone who would use it? And strategically, 5, 10, 15 years later, when they're ready to put those scrapbooks together, are they going to pull those things out? Or would they use the newer technology now where they could put that all edited online and digitally create a scrapbook that's printed and delivered to them? Only you can answer that. One's not better than the other. One just takes up shelves and shelves or a room of your home. One does not. One, you need hours and hours and hours. One does not. If that's your thing and that gives you so much joy, then of course keep it. If you're actively using it, of course keep it. Start to really be honest about how you're prioritizing your free time. When you do get free time, how do you spend it? Do you go to these extra items you have? This could also be said for entire extra sets of dishes that you have for hosting someday. And the reality is you look around and you're like, I haven't hosted in a decade. Or even when I do host, we never use those dishes. So I would challenge you to do one of two things in that situation. A, plan something so you can host and use the dishes. Pull them out, use them. Fulfill that vision you've had for so long. And then see, okay, do I feel like this is something I want to keep doing? And did these dishes really fill that dream I had, that vision of this event? Or do I feel like, okay, that was fun, but the dishes didn't make or break that event? I can get by how I've always been doing it. I'm good, and let them go. Hopefully that can bring some clarity. I think our collections and our passions for collectibles and our hobbies and our someday hobbies that we will have time for are such a draw, because it really taps into that part of ourselves that we want to be, that we believe and we know we like doing these things. That's why we got them in the first place. But ultimately, we have to really honor if our bandwidth is there, if we're going to actually do those things. Are we going to actually take our Saturday and spend it doing that? When you are retired someday, are you going to then go back in and do those things, or are you past that in life? And really importantly, don't shame yourself. We don't need to feel any shame here. All of these things were gotten with the best of intentions and tapping into parts of our needs and our goals and our dream version of ourselves that we want to be. We don't need to make ourselves feel bad for any of that. That's beautiful. We just need to be honest if we still need those things to reach that dream version of ourselves, or if there's other ways we're already doing that. Maybe pick one of those areas and decide, I'm going to go all in on this and do that, and then you see that yes, that thing is my thing, and then let the other things go. Energetically, there is such a beautiful thing that happens when we free some space up in our homes. It also frees space up in our minds. We don't realize how much energy it takes, like energetically keeping inventory of all of these things, and that little gut punch we get every time we see something that we told ourselves we were going to use and haven't. So hopefully this video was helpful. I am so happy you're here. I have all sorts of videos as I'm decluttering my entire world of things and getting ready to move abroad. I will link that playlist all about simplifying life in the description. I also have a free offering for you if you're interested. If you are making a life pivot, it is the whole reason I created this channel. Is I'm finding myself in midlife, loving my life, but also completely ready to pivot and change some things. What worked for this last chapter of raising kids and having to make different decisions is different than what I want my life to look like in this next chapter. So how do we do that? How do we bridge that gap? And I have this complete dreamer mindset where I really believe like most things are possible. And I love to think big and imagine all of these wonderful things. But I meet that. I'm the rare artist, creative type that actually loves a good spreadsheet. And how do we get that done? And let's have a plan. I want to know the budget for it. I want to know how many, the resources, who's helping, who do I need to ask? Is it all on me? What's the time frame? How do we pull this off? So that's what this entire channel is about. That's what this pivot planner is all about. It's really dreamer meets realist. And how do we actually put a plan to our dreams? So your dreams don't have to be moving abroad. Every single video I have on here, even if I'm talking about moving abroad, you can substitute your dream in for that and use those tips. Take what works for you and run with it. Thanks so much for being here. Bye.